Where Winds Meet is the breakthrough MMORPG that everybody's talking about now in 2025. We're talking about a full on open world RPG set in 10th century China with an impressive and beautiful landscape ready to explore, wuxia inspired combat that's both deep and easy to pick up with a huge variety of weapons and playstyles, plus enough side activities and optional content to derail your plans for hours on end. And somehow this entire thing costs nothing, zero. And honestly, after playing the game now for dozens of hours myself, completely free, it's mind boggling how much content is on offer here. But we'll get into all of that over the course of this video. Before I jump into my initial impressions, this video is sponsored by Where Winds Meet, which is out right now on PlayStation, Steam, and the Epic Game Store. As I've already mentioned, you can grab the game for free using my link down in the description or the pinned comment below. But why should you? Well, to set the stage, Where Winds Meet is a seamless open-world action RPG built around classic Chinese martial arts culture. You play as a young master trying to uncover the truth about your past while exploring this massive open setting. This is wuxia fantasy first, with all the iconic elements you would expect, including hidden martial arts techniques, legendary masters, larger-than-life bosses, and a long list of mystical skills and traversal abilities that make you feel like you've stepped into a martial arts movie. The story centers on your character's journey as they search for clues about their missing uncle and stumble into a political landscape full of rival factions, mysterious figures, and powerful enemies. It sets the vibe early and gives you a clear motivation, but without locking you into a specific path. Which brings me to the part of the game that truly surprised me, and that is its open world setting. This is easily one of the most impressive environments that I've seen, not just in a free-to-play game, but in any game really. First time you step out onto a tall cliff and simply look around in all directions, you get hit by the massive scale of Where Winds Meet. As soon as you exit the tutorial, you can travel in literally any direction you want, cross rolling fields, mysterious ruins, scaling up mountains, or diving into deep caverns. I've only really explored the first area at this point, but have gotten several dozens of hours of playtime across the main story and of course side quests and general exploration, which includes a ton of optional content. And it's that optional content and those side quests in Where Winds Meet where the game really does shine. Anywhere that you go, there's always something that you can do along the way that is going to distract you from your main objective, but will usually improve your character as well. For example, you'll often come across unique mini games or puzzles that can give you bonus currencies or crafting materials or loot, or you'll come across martial arts masters that can teach you new movesets and fighting techniques that you didn't have access to previously. What's really great though is that the world also reacts to what you do. You could be a hero, you could be a menace, a wandering doctor, or a thief, someone who spends their day gambling or playing instruments. If you break the law in front of the wrong NPC, they will report you. Guards can chase you, and if they catch you, you can actually serve jail time in this game. Yeah, real jail time. As I said, you could get injured and need a doctor. You can pick up illnesses. You can help NPCs with their problems, and you can even build relationships with the in-game NPCs. I like that you can also learn just obscure martial arts techniques by helping out random villagers, eavesdropping on conversations, or mimicking wild creatures through observation. If you want to rob somebody, you can. If you want to steal a horse, you could do that. You could heal the sick. Nothing forces you down a specific path in Where Winds Meet. You explore however and wherever you want at your own pace. So it's this no restrictions form of gameplay, which feels really amazing in this open world. And at times I really enjoy just turning off the UI and taking everything in because, like I said, the game world is absolutely beautiful on its own. We're talking stunning locations, day-night cycles, the whole thing. The only locked moments in the entire game are its major story missions, and even those are spaced out well enough that you could lose yourself in those side activities and exploration for hours on end before you trigger the next story chapter. You don't have to advance through the story either, as you can progress, as I said, any way and at any pace that you want, completely taking your time and uncovering everything there is to see and do first, if you prefer. And I really like those side missions and puzzles, as I mentioned, but I think my favorite thing was uncovering some optional world bosses and taking them down on my own. Those bosses in the game offer a good amount of challenge, and of course, some are optional, so you can pass by them completely if you want. Both the world bosses and story boss encounters were some of my favorite moments in the game, and most bosses do have multiple stages or different situations, which make them incredibly unique and fun to take down. But that leads me into discussing the combat systems in Where Winds Meet, which are also exceptional. Now, of course, you start with the basics, a sword, a spear, a bow, but eventually you'll expand into 7 distinct weapon types, 12 different martial arts forms, and 24 mystic arts that you can combine in however configuration that you want. Swords, dual blades, spears, umbrellas, rope darts, fans, two-handers. Each one plays completely differently, and you're encouraged actually to switch between those until you find a weapon combination that you really enjoy. Each weapon itself, of course, has unique abilities that you can discover and unlock during your playthrough, adding to your buildcraft and character investment, which is great, along with the various talent trees, which add even more depth and variety to your character build. Of course, there's unique gear to collect, as well as gear sets, which can give you even more bonuses, and your weapons can be upgraded as well. But the combat in this game is amazing, and it's no doubt one of the best features in the game outside of its open exploration. The combat itself is very fast, it's flashy, cinematic almost, with that wuxia style camera work, so every dodge, every spin, every impact feels big. And if you like that sort of Souls-like experience too, the game kind of delivers in that aspect as well. You have perfect parries and counterattacks and different timing windows where you can punish enemies if you have enough skill, with, as I mentioned, challenging bosses with distinct patterns that you'll have to learn in order to defeat them. Now, that being said, if you're not a fan of Elden Ring or Souls-likes, no worries here because the difficulty in Where Winds Meet is fully adjustable at any time. You could set the game to story mode if you prefer, if you want that kind of smoother journey. You can also bump things up if you want a real challenge with a harder difficulty. Also, this was really interesting. The game actually recognizes if you're struggling on your current playthrough and will suggest the difficulty that you can play on, for example. But the real joy of the combat system and what I really loved about it is how much freedom you have in building out your character for combat. You could, for example, focus on pure speed, heavy damage, deflection. You could focus on range attacks or tankiness. Some weapons are aggressive, some help you with crowd control, while other weapons play more defensively. So there's really a lot of room to experiment so that basically no two builds are going to feel exactly the same. You combine in your talents and your gear upgrades on top of that, and the possibilities here are basically endless, which is what I love. All of that depth carries through the character progression as well. You have these things called oddities, which are scattered across the map that can give you different bonuses. Collecting some of these leads to lightness skills. These are basically the wuxia-inspired movement powers that let you do things like run on water or dash across rooftops, glide through the air, and sprint faster than a horse, which really makes the game feel unique. And once you unlock these skills, the entire map basically becomes your playground. And now you're probably wondering, like I was, how is this much content free? Surely there's some pay to win here, but no, none of the paid cosmetics in Where Winds Meet actually affect gameplay. The battle pass, the gacha cosmetics in this game, they are purely cosmetic, and it works great. Plus, all future game content and DLC will be free for every player. But now let's talk about maybe an even more surprising aspect of Where Winds Meet, which is the MMO or social aspects of this game. But Where Winds Meet is really unique in that it has a full story mode, which you start off with. So basically a single player RPG, but then eventually you can seamlessly transition from that story mode into online play. You can literally switch at any time. This is where the MMO aspect comes into play. This is where you can join friends, you can run multiplayer dungeons, you can attempt raids, participate in social gatherings, you can join guilds, even get married. You could take on guild versus guild battles or dive into PvP arenas and open world conflicts. More options unlock for you as you progress through the single player campaign or the story mode basically. And I also liked how you needed to complete challenges every 10 levels or so, basically to get to the next part of the game or the next social mode to unlock. But this seems like players really do enjoy the MMO aspects of this game as well. The social spaces are really alive right now whenever you want to jump into them. Hot springs full of players, players gathering in cities to play music, players healing each other, curing injuries. There's even some group riddles and puzzles where multiple players are going to need to work together. Where Winds Meet's online modes definitely have that classic MMO vibe where everybody just hangs out and does random activities. It definitely feels like the early days of online RPGs, which is a great feeling. And even if you don't care about multiplayer, the option's always there. If you could play this like a solo RPG from start to finish if you want with zero pressure and Anytime you do want to try something social, you can just flip the mode over instantly, and there you go. But to summarize my playtime with Where Winds Meet, first, the open world is massive. It's not even fully built out yet. More areas are still to come, but from its giant cities to hidden temples, mountain caves, it's really clear that the dev team here wanted this to feel like a real place, that there's just so much to explore. And even coming back to the same areas that you've been to before, you're still likely to come across some new puzzle, challenge, or mystic art form to unlock for your character. Second is the freedom to play. If you want to play the story straight through, you can. If you want to wander around for 6 hours doing oddities and practicing martial arts, healing NPCs, or testing city guards, that's a valid play session too. There's literally no right way to play this game. Third is that the combat is very satisfying for players who want a game that includes diverse builds and combat strategies. You can adjust your difficulty, pick the weapons that you prefer, and discover your own playstyle. I'm still testing out all the weapons and abilities myself after dozens of hours, so I think there's definitely something for everyone here. But finally, your value to investment ratio here, pretty unmatched in this day and age, because like I said, Where Winds Meet is free to play with no pay to win, and all future DLC will be free as well. Plus, the game has actually been growing players after its launch, not shrinking, which is almost unheard of in terms of online communities. But I think it just goes to show how much there is to do in this game. Where Winds Meet launched on November 14th, and it's available now on PlayStation, Steam, and the Epic Game Store. You can download it for free using my link in the description and see the world for yourself. Whether you want to climb rooftops, master mystical arts, destroy bosses with your friends, or just enjoy one of the best looking open worlds of this year, I think this one's definitely worth jumping into. Thanks again to Where Winds Meet for sponsoring this video. Make sure to use the link down below in the description to download the game now completely for free. And if you're already playing, let me know your first impressions too in the comments, and I will see you around in the next video.